Chapter 1. Master one platform. Before expanding. One of the biggest mistakes new business owners make has nothing to do with their product. It has nothing to do with their logo, website, or pricing. The mistake is trying to be everywhere at once. They create an Instagram account, a TikTok account, a Facebook page, a YouTube channel, an X account, a Pinterest profile, a LinkedIn page, and maybe even a Snapchat account. They post one or two pieces of content on each platform, get little engagement, become discouraged, and conclude that social media doesn't work. The problem wasn't the product. The problem was a lack of focus. Attention is one of your most valuable business assets. Every minute you spend learning one platform is a minute you aren't mastering another. If you divide your attention among 6 or 7 platforms, you'll likely make slow progress on all of them. But if you devote all of your effort to one platform, you begin to understand how it works. You learn what your audience enjoys, when they are active, which posts attract attention, and which posts lead to sales. Think of it like learning a musical instrument. Imagine trying to learn the piano, guitar, violin, drums, saxophone, and trumpet all at the same time. You might make a little progress on each, but you probably wouldn't become truly skilled at any of them. Now imagine spending that same amount of time mastering only the piano. Month after month, your improvement would become obvious. Business works much the same way. The first goal isn't to become famous. It isn't to collect thousands of followers. The first goal is much simpler. Make one sale. One sale proves that your business can solve a problem for someone willing to pay for it. One sale validates your idea. One sale teaches you more than 1,000 likes ever will. Choose one platform and commit to it until you make that first sale. If your products are highly visual, Instagram may be a great choice. If your business depends on storytelling or long-form education, YouTube might serve you better. If you're selling business services to professionals, LinkedIn may be the strongest option. If your products appeal to younger audiences through short-form entertainment, TikTok may deserve your attention. There isn't a universally perfect platform. There's only the platform that best fits your business and your customers. Once you've made your choice, stop looking over the fence. Every day you'll hear someone say another platform is exploding with opportunity. Ignore the noise. Chasing every new trend is one of the fastest ways to lose momentum. Instead, build depth before you build width. Let's use Instagram as an example. Suppose you've created a fishing apparel company. Every photo you post should reinforce the same message. Your colors should remain consistent. Your logo should appear consistently. Your editing style should look familiar from one post to the next. Your captions should sound like they were written by the same person. Your profile picture should never constantly change. Your bio should clearly explain who you are, who you serve, and why someone should follow you. Imagine walking into a Starbucks in New York, then another in California, then another in Texas. Although each location is different, they all feel familiar. The colors, the logo, the menus, the products, and the customer experience communicate the same brand. That consistency builds trust. Your social media should do exactly the same thing. When someone visits your profile, they should immediately understand what your business is about within a few seconds. If they have to guess what you sell, you've already lost their attention. Ask yourself 3 simple questions. Who am I? Who do I serve? Why should anyone care? If your profile answers those questions instantly, you're moving in the right direction. Consistency extends beyond your logo and colors. It also includes your posting schedule. If you decide to post once every day, continue posting once every day. If you decide to upload 3 times a week, stick to 3 times a week. Your audience begins to expect your content, and consistency also gives the platform's algorithm more opportunities to understand who your content is for. Many business owners make another mistake. They only post advertisements. Buy my shirt, buy my coffee, buy my hat, over and over again. People rarely open social media hoping to see advertisements. They open social media to learn, laugh, escape, discover, or be inspired. Instead of constantly selling your product, Sell the lifestyle surrounding your product. If you own a coffee company, don't just post coffee bags. Show quiet mornings. Show people reading books. Show conversations between friends. Show the atmosphere your coffee creates. If you sell fishing apparel, don't only post hats and shirts. Show sunrises over the water. Show children catching their first fish. Show families on the boat. Show unforgettable memories that happen while wearing your brand. People don't simply buy products, they buy identity. Nike rarely talks about rubber soles or stitching. Their marketing consistently celebrates determination, athletic achievement, and personal growth. The product supports the story, but it isn't the story itself. Apple doesn't spend every commercial listing technical specifications. Instead, it often demonstrates creativity, simplicity, and beautiful design. The world's strongest brands understand that emotion creates memory. Your content should follow a simple balance. Educate, entertain, inspire, then occasionally sell. When every post is a sales pitch, people tune out. When your content consistently provides value, your audience begins to trust you. Trust eventually becomes attention. Attention becomes customers. As you continue posting, study your results like a scientist. Don't guess. Which posts received the most comments? Which posts were shared the most? Which videos kept people watching? Which captions started conversations? The data tells a story if you're willing to read it. When something works, don't assume it was luck. Analyze why it worked. Was it the opening sentence, the photo, the timing, the topic? Then repeat the successful pattern while continuing to improve it. This process is called iteration. The world's best companies rarely succeed because they guessed correctly the first time. They succeed because they continually improve what already works. Only after you've consistently generated sales from your first platform should you begin adding another. When you move to a second platform, don't start from scratch. Bring everything you've learned with you. Use the same brand colors, the same logo, the same voice, the same mission, the same values. People should recognize your business no matter where they discover it. Your goal isn't to build 10 average social media accounts. Your goal is to build one exceptional brand. Remember this principle because it will serve you throughout your entire entrepreneurial journey. Master one platform. Create one successful system. Make your first sale, then expand. Rinse and repeat. Businesses aren't built by chasing every opportunity. They're built by mastering the right ones. Chapter 2. What branding really is. Ask 10 people what a brand is, and you'll probably hear 10 different answers. Some people will say it's a logo, others will say it's a company name. Some believe it's a catchy slogan or a recognizable color. They're all partially correct, but none of those things are the brand. A logo is not a brand. A font is not a brand. A color palette is not a brand. A website is not a brand. A product is not a brand. Those are simply tools a brand uses. A brand is something much deeper. A brand is the feeling people have when they think about your business. It's the expectation they have before they buy. It's the memory they keep long after they've left. Branding happens in the mind. Imagine two coffee shops sitting side by side on the same street. Both sell coffee. Both charge about the same price. Both have friendly employees. One shop has no clear identity. Its logo changes every few months. Sometimes it posts funny memes online. Other times it posts political opinions. One week it looks modern. The next week it looks vintage. Every visit feels different. The second shop is Starbucks. Before you even walk through the door, you already know what to expect. You recognize the green logo. You recognize the cups. You recognize the menu. You recognize the music. You recognize the atmosphere. Whether you're in Florida, California, London, or Tokyo, the experience feels familiar. That familiarity creates trust. That trust is branding. People often believe customers buy products. In reality, customers buy certainty. They want to know what they're going to receive. Strong brands remove uncertainty. Think about a bridge. When engineers build a bridge, people don't inspect every bolt before driving across it. They trust it because they've crossed similar bridges before. Years of consistency create confidence. A brand works the same way. Every positive interaction adds another steel cable to that bridge. Every fulfilled promise strengthens the structure. Every satisfied customer reinforces trust. But every broken promise removes one of those cables. Eventually, enough broken promises cause the bridge to collapse. The strongest brands in the world spend decades reinforcing their bridges. That's why branding is one of the most valuable assets a company can own. Now let's talk about something that many new entrepreneurs misunderstand. Your first sale. Notice I didn't say your first sale to your mother, or your best friend, or your cousin, or your neighbor who bought something because they wanted to support you. Those sales are encouraging, but they don't truly validate your business. The sale that matters most is the one made to a complete stranger. Someone who owes you nothing. Someone who has never met you. Someone who found your business, trusted it enough to spend their hard-earned money, and believed your product was worth the price. That is proof. Imagine setting up a lemonade stand. Your parents buy 5 cups. Your grandparents buy 3. Your uncle buys 2. Congratulations, you made 10 sales. But did your business actually work? Maybe. Maybe not. Now imagine a stranger driving through town notices your stand. They've never met you. They don't know your name. They could easily keep driving. Instead, they stop, hand you money, and buy a cup. That single purchase tells you something incredibly important. Your offer was strong enough to convince someone with no emotional attachment to you. That is a real business. One genuine sale is more valuable than 20 sympathy purchases. Why? Because businesses don't grow from obligation. They grow from value. Your first stranger is the beginning of everything. If you can convince one person you've never met to buy from you, you've proven your process can work. Now your job becomes repeating that process. If one stranger bought, another stranger can buy. If 10 strangers buy, 100 strangers can buy. If 100 strangers buy, 1,000 strangers can buy. Every successful company on earth began with exactly one customer. Amazon had one. Apple had one. Nike had one. Every giant company you admire once celebrated a first sale. They didn't wake up with millions of customers. They earned them one person at a time. This is why you should celebrate your first real customer. Not because of the money, because of what the sale represents. It represents trust. It represents proof. It represents possibility. Your first sale is evidence that your business exists outside your own imagination. Many entrepreneurs chase followers. Others chase likes. Some obsess over views. Those numbers can feel exciting, but they don't always translate into a successful business. Imagine having 1 million followers and 0 customers. Now imagine having only 500 followers, but 50 loyal customers who return every month. Which business would you rather own? Followers don't pay your bills. Customers do. Never confuse popularity with profitability. Branding is not about becoming famous. It's about becoming memorable. When people hear your company name, something should immediately come to mind. Maybe it's quality. Maybe it's adventure. Maybe it's luxury. Maybe it's simplicity. Maybe it's reliability. Whatever it is, your message should remain consistent. If today your business stands for affordability, tomorrow it shouldn't suddenly claim to be the most luxurious option. If your brand speaks with humor, don't suddenly become cold and corporate. If your mission is helping families, don't spend your marketing speaking only to athletes. Confused brands create confused customers. Clear brands create confident buyers. As your company grows, protect that clarity. Every photograph, every caption, every product, every email, every customer interaction, every package, every advertisement, every conversation, each one quietly answers the same question. Who are we? The companies that answer that question consistently become unforgettable. Remember this: a logo gets attention, a product creates interest, but a brand creates loyalty. And loyalty is what transforms a single sale into thousands. Chapter 3. The Psychology of Trust. Imagine you're walking through a dense forest at sunset. Two trails appear in front of you. The first trail is wide, well-traveled, and clearly marked. You can see footprints in the dirt. The path is maintained, and other people have safely walked it before you. The second trail disappears into thick brush. There are no signs, no footprints, no indication that anyone has ever taken it. Which path would you choose? Most people would instinctively choose the first, not because they've carefully analyzed both options, not because they've gathered scientific evidence, but because their brain is designed to reduce uncertainty. This simple survival instinct has protected human beings for thousands of years. Long before money existed, trusting the wrong person or taking the wrong path could mean injury, starvation, or death. Our ancestors who recognized danger and avoided unnecessary risks were more likely to survive and pass on their genes. Although we no longer worry about wild predators every day, our brains still operate using many of those same instincts. That ancient psychology follows us everywhere, including when we buy products. Every purchase begins with a question the customer may never say out loud. Can I trust this? Not, is it the cheapest? Not, is it the coolest? First comes trust. Only after trust exists do people begin comparing prices, features, and benefits. This is why branding matters. A brand quietly answers that question before the customer ever asks it. Trust isn't built with one advertisement. It's built through hundreds of tiny signals. Think about meeting someone for the first time. Within seconds, your brain begins collecting information. How do they speak? Do they make eye contact? Do they seem confident? Do they appear honest? Can they be trusted? You don't consciously analyze every detail. Your brain does it automatically. Customers do the exact same thing with businesses. They notice your logo, they notice your website, they notice your social media, they notice the quality of your photographs, they notice your spelling, they notice how quickly you respond to messages, they notice your reviews. None of these things alone creates trust. Together they form an impression. Psychologists call this thin slicing, the human tendency to make surprisingly quick judgments based on limited information. Whether those first impressions are completely accurate isn't the point. The point is that they happen. Imagine walking into two restaurants. The first restaurant has clean floors, friendly employees, neatly arranged tables, and a welcoming atmosphere. The second restaurant has sticky tables, overflowing trash cans, poor lighting, and employees arguing with each other. Even before tasting the food, you've already made a decision about which restaurant you trust more. The same thing happens online. Your website is your storefront. Your Instagram profile is your storefront. Your YouTube channel is your storefront. Your packaging is your storefront. Every customer interaction communicates something. Trust is often built before anyone clicks the buy button. Another important principle of psychology is familiarity. The more often people encounter something in a positive way, the more comfortable they become with it. Think about hearing a new song on the radio. The first time you may barely notice it. By the 5th time, you're humming along. By the 20th time, it's one of your favorites. Businesses work similarly. People rarely buy from a company they've seen only once. Instead, they encounter it again and again. A helpful video, an interesting post, a customer review, a recommendation from a friend, an article, a short reel, a comment. Each interaction quietly says the same thing. We're still here. Familiarity creates comfort. Comfort creates trust. Trust creates sales. This is why consistency matters so much. Imagine if Coca-Cola changed its logo every month. Imagine if Nike used a different slogan every week. Imagine if Starbucks painted every store a completely different color. Customers would become confused. Confusion slows trust. Clarity accelerates it. The strongest brands repeat themselves without becoming repetitive. Their message stays steady. Their values stay steady. Their identity stays steady. Over time, people begin recognizing them instantly. Another powerful element of trust is social proof. Imagine you're walking through a city looking for a place to eat. One restaurant is completely empty. The restaurant next door has a line stretching outside. Without knowing anything else, many people assume the busy restaurant must be better. Why? Because humans naturally look to others when making uncertain decisions. Psychologists sometimes call this social proof. If other people trust something, maybe it's safe for me to trust it too. This is why customer reviews matter. Testimonials matter. Photos from real customers matter. Word of mouth matters. People trust people more than they trust advertisements. No company can simply claim to be trustworthy. Trust must be demonstrated. Promises create expectations. Actions create belief. That brings us back to your first sale. When a complete stranger buys from you and has a positive experience, something incredible happens. You no longer have just a customer. You have evidence. That evidence can become a review. That review becomes trust for the next customer. That customer leaves another review. Now your reputation begins growing on its own. One customer becomes two. Two become five. Five become 20. Eventually, strangers begin trusting you because other strangers trusted you first. Think of trust like planting a tree. On the first day, all you have is a tiny seed. It doesn't provide shade. It doesn't produce fruit. From a distance, it doesn't even look impressive. But every day you water it. Every day it grows. Months pass. Years pass. Its roots spread deeper underground. Its trunk becomes stronger. Its branches reach farther. One day people gather beneath it for shade without ever thinking about the years it took to grow. Brands grow the same way. Customers only see the finished tree. They don't see the thousands of consistent decisions that built it. They don't see the late nights, the careful attention to quality, the honest customer service, the consistent message, the promises kept. Those invisible actions become visible trust. Remember this principle for the rest of your business journey. People rarely buy because they understand your company. They buy because they believe your company. Understanding creates interest. Belief creates action. And trust is what transforms belief into lasting loyalty. Chapter 4. Color Psychology and Visual Identity. Imagine walking into a library where every book has a blank cover. No titles, no colors, no images. Just hundreds of identical white books sitting on endless shelves. How would you find the one you're looking for? You couldn't. Now imagine walking into that same library after every book has been given its own unique cover. Some are black and gold. Others are bright red. Some use elegant lettering. Others use bold typography. Suddenly, your eyes know where to look. Your brain begins sorting information almost instantly. Your brand works exactly the same way. Before people read your caption, before they visit your website, before they understand your business, they see you. Humans are visual creatures. Our brains process visual information much faster than written words. Long before someone reads your company name, they begin forming opinions based on what they see. This is why visual identity matters. Visual identity is the collection of visual elements that make your business instantly recognizable. It includes your logo, your colors, your fonts, your photography, your editing style, your packaging, your website, your social media pages. Everything should feel like it belongs to the same family. Imagine meeting identical twins. Although they are separate individuals, you immediately recognize they belong together because they share familiar features. Your content should create that same feeling. Every photo should feel related. Every graphic should feel connected. Every post should quietly say, "This belongs to the same brand." Now let's use Instagram as an example. If Instagram is the platform you've chosen to master, treat your profile like the front entrance of your business. When someone lands on your page, they begin making decisions within seconds. Not minutes. Seconds. Ask yourself this question. If someone visits my profile for the very first time, do they instantly understand what my business is? Your profile picture should be simple and recognizable. For most businesses, that means using your logo. Don't constantly change it. Recognition comes from repetition. If customers have to relearn your profile every few weeks, you're making branding harder than it needs to be. Next comes your username. Keep it simple. Avoid unnecessary numbers or confusing symbols if possible. Your username should be easy to remember, easy to spell, and easy to search. Now look at your bio. Your bio is not the place for mystery. Many business owners write things like, "Living my best life," "Dream big," "Welcome." None of these tell a customer what you actually do. Instead, your bio should answer 3 questions immediately. Who are you? What do you offer? Why should someone follow you? If you sell fishing apparel, don't make people guess. Tell them. If you teach photography, say it clearly. If you create handmade candles, say that too. Clarity beats cleverness, always. Finally, include a link that leads people where you want them to go. Your online store, your website, your booking page, your newsletter. Every profile should have a destination. Never make customers search for the next step. Now let's talk about one of the most powerful tools in branding: color. Imagine someone says the words, Coca-Cola. Many people immediately picture red. Now think about Starbucks, green. Think about McDonald's, red and yellow. Think about Tiffany & Company, robin's egg blue. These companies didn't accidentally become associated with those colors. They repeated them consistently for years. Color becomes memory. Memory becomes recognition. Recognition becomes trust. Different colors also tend to communicate different emotions. Blue is often associated with trust, stability, reliability, and professionalism. This is one reason many banks, technology companies, and healthcare organizations use blue in their branding. Green often reminds people of nature, freshness, health, growth, and the outdoors. Companies connected to sustainability, coffee, gardening, or outdoor lifestyles frequently use green. Red naturally attracts attention. It communicates excitement, passion, urgency, and energy. It is bold and difficult to ignore. Yellow feels optimistic, cheerful, energetic, and welcoming. It grabs attention quickly but is often strongest when paired with another color. Black often communicates sophistication, luxury, confidence, and timelessness. White suggests simplicity, cleanliness, and minimalism. Orange can communicate enthusiasm, creativity, adventure, and friendliness. These aren't rigid rules. Context matters. Culture matters. But understanding color psychology gives you another tool for communicating your message before anyone reads a single word. Now think about your Instagram feed. Many beginners accidentally create visual chaos. One post uses bright neon colors. The next is dark and moody. The next has cartoon graphics. The next looks like a newspaper. Nothing feels connected. Your page should feel like a magazine, not a junk drawer. When someone scrolls through your profile, they should immediately recognize a consistent style. Maybe every image has warm, natural lighting. Maybe every photo includes your brand colors. Maybe every picture shares a similar editing style. Maybe your typography stays identical across every graphic. Consistency creates identity. Identity creates recognition. Recognition creates familiarity. Imagine walking into a sports stadium where every player on the same team wore a completely different uniform. One player wears blue, another wears pink, another wears camouflage, another wears formal business clothes. You'd struggle to identify who belongs together. Your brand works the same way. Your colors are your uniform. Your fonts are your uniform. Your photography is your uniform. Your editing style is your uniform. Everything should communicate. We're on the same team. This doesn't mean every post must look identical. It means every post should feel related. One final piece of advice. Do not redesign your brand every month. Many entrepreneurs become bored with their own branding because they see it every day. Your customers don't. What feels repetitive to you often feels familiar to them. Some of the world's most recognizable companies have used the same core visual identity for decades, making only small refinements over time. Remember, consistency is not boring. Consistency is memorable. As you continue building your business, ask yourself one simple question before publishing anything. If I removed my logo, Would someone still recognize this as my brand? If the answer is yes, you're building a visual identity instead of simply creating content. That's the difference between posting online and building a brand that people remember. Chapter 5. Choosing the right name. Imagine building a beautiful castle. The walls are strong. The windows are elegant. The gardens are breathtaking. Everything has been carefully designed. Now imagine there is no front door. People admire the castle from a distance, but they have no obvious way to enter. A business name is the front door to your brand. It's often the very first thing people experience. Before they see your products, before they read your story, before they become customers, they hear your name. That single word becomes the doorway into everything you've built. Choosing a name isn't about finding the cleverest word in the dictionary. It's about creating something people can remember. Some entrepreneurs spend months trying to invent a name no one has ever heard before. Others make the opposite mistake. They choose names that are so complicated, so long, or so difficult to pronounce that customers forget them almost immediately. A great business name doesn't have to explain everything. It simply needs to be memorable. Think about Rolex. The word itself doesn't describe watches. If someone had never heard of Rolex before, they wouldn't know the company sells luxury timepieces. Yet today, almost everyone immediately associates the name with precision, craftsmanship, luxury, and success. The name wasn't powerful because of its meaning. The meaning became powerful because of the company's consistency. Now think about Gucci. The word Gucci doesn't describe handbags, fashion, or luxury. It's simply a family name. Over decades, the company attached emotions, quality, exclusivity, and prestige to that word. Today, hearing Gucci instantly creates an image in millions of people's minds. The lesson is simple. Brands give meaning to names. Names rarely create brands by themselves. This is one of the biggest misunderstandings among new entrepreneurs. They believe they haven't found the perfect name yet, so they keep searching. Weeks turn into months. Months become years. The business never launches because they're still chasing perfection. Here's the truth. A good name with exceptional branding will almost always outperform a perfect name with poor branding. Your actions give your name its reputation, not the other way around. Think about your own name. When you were born, your name had no meaning. It was simply a collection of letters. Over time, your personality, your decisions, your character, and your reputation gave your name meaning. Businesses work exactly the same way. Every satisfied customer adds meaning to your company's name. Every positive review adds meaning. Every fulfilled promise adds meaning. Eventually, your name begins carrying a reputation long before you enter the room. When choosing a business name, simplicity is often your greatest advantage. Can someone pronounce it easily? Can they spell it after hearing it once? Can they remember it tomorrow? Can they tell a friend without struggling? Imagine you're sitting around a campfire. Someone says, "You've got to check out this company." If they can't easily remember your name, they probably won't recommend you. Word of mouth is one of the most powerful forms of marketing. But people can't recommend what they can't remember. Another important consideration is emotional connection. Some names immediately create curiosity. Others create emotion. Some create mystery. Some create excitement. Some create elegance. Your name should fit the feeling you want customers to experience. Chapter 6. Logos. Imagine walking through an airport. You don't have time to stop and read every sign. Instead, your brain searches for symbols. A small airplane tells you where the gates are. A suitcase points you toward baggage claim. A fork and knife tell you where to find food. A restroom icon guides you without a single word. Those symbols communicate instantly. A logo works the same way. It is not your business. It is the symbol people use to recognize your business. Many entrepreneurs believe a logo is the secret ingredient that makes a company successful. They spend months redesigning it, changing colors, changing fonts, adding more detail, then removing detail, over and over again. Meanwhile, they haven't made a single sale. Here's the truth. A logo doesn't create a great company. A great company creates a great logo. Think about Nike. The famous swoosh is nothing more than a simple curved line. By itself, it's just ink on paper. But because Nike has spent decades delivering quality products, inspiring athletes, sponsoring champions, and consistently telling the same story, that simple shape now carries enormous meaning. The logo became powerful because of everything attached to it. The same is true for Apple. Take away the company's reputation, and the logo is simply the silhouette of an apple with a bite missing. Yet today, people instantly associate it with innovation, simplicity, premium design, and technology. Meaning wasn't built into the logo. Meaning was built into the company. The logo simply became the shortcut. Think of your logo like the cover of a book. A beautiful cover may convince someone to pick the book up, but only the story inside convinces them to recommend it. Your logo opens the door. Your business determines whether people stay. One mistake many new business owners make is trying to tell their entire story inside the logo. If they own a fishing company, they add a fish, a boat, a hook, a wave, a mountain, the sun, a compass, 3 different fonts, 5 colors. By the time they're finished, the logo looks more like a crowded billboard than a recognizable symbol. Simplicity wins. The most memorable logos in the world are often surprisingly simple. Nike, Apple, McDonald's, Target, Mercedes-Benz, Adidas. Their logos can be recognized from a distance. Some can even be recognized without the company name. That's the goal. Not complexity, recognition. Imagine trying to remember someone's face. Would it be easier if they wore one distinctive hat every day? Or if they changed everything about their appearance every morning? Consistency creates memory. The same is true for logos. Once you've designed a logo that fits your brand, avoid constantly changing it. Every redesign asks customers to learn your business all over again. Small improvements over time are perfectly normal. Many successful companies have modernized their logos throughout the years. But notice something important. They usually evolve them. They don't completely replace them. This allows customers to recognize the brand while still keeping the design fresh. Now let's talk about what makes a logo memorable. First, it should be easy to recognize. Imagine shrinking your logo to the size of a social media profile picture. Can people still identify it? If the important details disappear, the design may be too complicated. Second, it should work in black and white. Many entrepreneurs only test their logos in full color, but logos appear in many places: invoices, embroidery, packaging, watermarks, receipts. Sometimes color isn't available. A strong logo should remain recognizable even without color. Third, it should fit your brand personality. Imagine a luxury jewelry company using bright cartoon bubble letters. Now imagine a children's toy company using dark Gothic lettering. Neither feels quite right. The style of your logo should match the experience you're promising customers. Fourth, it should be timeless. Design trends come and go. What looks modern today may look outdated 5 years from now. Avoid creating a logo based entirely on the latest design trend. Instead, build something that can grow with your company. Here's another important lesson. People remember repetition more than perfection. Imagine hearing your favorite song once. You might enjoy it. Now imagine hearing it hundreds of times over several years. It becomes part of your memory. Your logo works the same way. People don't remember it because they saw it once. They remember it because they've seen it consistently. On your website, on your products, on your social media, on your packaging, on your emails, on your advertisements, on your hats, on your shirts, on your shipping boxes. Every appearance strengthens recognition. One appearance isn't branding. Thousands of consistent appearances become branding. Think of your logo as your business signature. Every artist has a signature. Every author signs their books. Every musician develops a recognizable sound. Your logo quietly signs every customer experience. It says, "We stand behind this." That responsibility makes consistency incredibly important. Don't stretch your logo. Don't constantly recolor it. Don't replace it every few months because you're bored. Remember, you see your logo every day. Your customers don't. What feels old to you may still feel brand new to someone discovering your business for the first time. There's one final lesson that many entrepreneurs never hear. Customers don't become emotionally attached to logos. They become emotionally attached to experiences. The logo simply reminds them of those experiences. Imagine receiving excellent customer service from your favorite restaurant. Later, you drive past their sign. Immediately, you remember how they treated you. The logo triggered the memory. Now imagine the opposite. Poor service, broken promises, low-quality products. The logo still triggers a memory, but this time, it's a negative one. Your logo is like a photograph. It captures a moment. Over time, every interaction with your company becomes attached to that symbol. That's why every customer matters. Every order matters. Every message matters. Every promise matters. Your logo is collecting those moments every single day. Years from now, people may not remember your very first customer. They may not remember your first advertisement. They may not remember your first social media post. But if you've consistently delivered on your promises, they'll remember your logo. Not because it was the most complicated, not because it was the most colorful, not because it followed every design trend. They'll remember it because it came to represent something they trusted. And in branding, there is no greater achievement than becoming instantly recognized and instantly respected. Chapter 7. Building a brand personality. Imagine walking into a room filled with 100 people. Some are loud, some are quiet, some are funny, some are serious, some are adventurous, some are thoughtful. Although everyone has a face, what truly makes them memorable is their personality. Businesses are no different. Every company has a name. Every company has a logo. Every company has products. But the brands people remember have something more. They have a personality. Your brand personality is the human side of your business. It's the way you speak, the way you write, the way you interact with customers, the emotions you create, the values you stand for. If your company were a real person walking into that room, how would people describe it? Confident? Friendly? Luxury? Adventurous? Playful? Bold? Reliable? Calm? The answer to that question influences every decision you make. Think about Harley-Davidson. The company doesn't simply manufacture motorcycles. It represents freedom, adventure, the open road, individuality. Many Harley-Davidson owners don't just buy motorcycles. They buy into a lifestyle. Now think about Disney. Disney doesn't simply create movies. It creates wonder, magic, family memories, optimism. The products are different. The personalities are different. But both companies understand exactly who they are. Imagine if Disney suddenly started marketing itself with dark, aggressive messaging. Or Harley-Davidson began speaking like a luxury jewelry company. Customers would immediately feel something was wrong. The personality would no longer match the brand. Your business needs the same clarity. Here's a simple exercise. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine your brand sitting across from you in a chair. If you started a conversation, how would it speak? Would it use humor? Would it tell stories? Would it inspire people? Would it sound professional? Would it be energetic? Would it be calm and reassuring? There isn't one correct personality. There is only consistency. Many entrepreneurs accidentally create multiple personalities. Their website sounds professional. Their Instagram sounds sarcastic. Their emails sound robotic. Their advertisements sound completely different. Customers become confused. Imagine meeting someone who changes personalities every time you see them. One day they're cheerful. The next day they're cold. The next day they're loud. The next day they're quiet. Eventually you stop trusting what you're going to get. Brands work the same way. People trust consistency. One of the most effective ways to build personality is through storytelling. Facts are easy to forget. Stories stay with us. Imagine someone says, "Our backpacks are waterproof." That's useful information. Now imagine they tell you about a customer whose backpack survived a week-long hiking trip through heavy rain without damaging a single piece of camera equipment. Which one will you remember tomorrow? Almost certainly the story. Stories help people picture themselves using your products. That's powerful. Another important part of personality is knowing who you're talking to. Imagine trying to have one conversation with a 5-year-old, a college student, a professional athlete, and a retired teacher, all at the same time. You'd struggle because each audience communicates differently. The same is true in branding. Know who your customer is. Speak their language. Understand their interests. Understand their challenges. Understand their goals. When customers feel understood, they begin feeling connected. Connection creates loyalty. Another way personality appears is through customer service. Imagine two companies selling the exact same product. The first company responds to questions days later. The replies are short, cold, impersonal. The second company answers quickly, uses the customer's name, solves problems with kindness, thanks them for their support. Which company feels more human? Which company would you buy from again? Excellent customer service isn't just support, it's branding. Every conversation becomes part of your personality. Even small details matter. The words you choose, the photographs you post, the music in your videos, the packaging your customer opens, the thank you message inside the box. Every interaction quietly says, "This is who we are." Here's another important lesson. Don't try to appeal to everyone. Imagine a restaurant trying to serve pizza, sushi, Mexican food, French cuisine, Indian food, barbecue, seafood, and breakfast, all at once. Could it be done? Maybe. Would it become famous for any one thing? Probably not. Strong brands are willing to attract some people while naturally turning away others. That's not failure. That's focus. The companies with the strongest personalities often have passionate fans. Chapter 8. How the world's biggest brands. Imagine standing at the base of 6 towering mountains. At first glance, they all look different. One is covered in snow. Another is surrounded by forests. One rises from the desert. Another overlooks the ocean. Although they appear unique, they all reached incredible heights because they were built on the same foundation. The world's biggest brands work the same way. Nike doesn't think like Apple. Apple doesn't think like Starbucks. Starbucks doesn't think like Rolex. Yet each one has mastered the same fundamental principles. They understand people. They understand trust. They understand emotion. And above all, they understand consistency. Let's climb each mountain, one at a time. Nike, sell the person. Someone wants to become Nike doesn't sell shoes. Of course, shoes are what the company manufactures, but that isn't what people buy. People buy the feeling, the belief, the identity. When you watch a Nike commercial, you rarely hear a detailed explanation about rubber compounds or stitching patterns. Instead, you see athletes overcoming obstacles, training before sunrise, competing despite pain, breaking records, pushing beyond limits. Nike understands one of the most powerful truths in branding. People don't just buy products, they buy better versions of themselves. The shoes become a symbol of discipline. The shirt becomes a reminder of commitment. The logo becomes associated with achievement. Ask yourself this question: what version of themselves is your customer hoping to become? Sell that. Apple. Simplicity wins. Imagine walking into a room with 50 buttons on the wall. Each button performs a different function. It's overwhelming. Now imagine another room with only one button. Simple, elegant, obvious. Apple has built one of the most valuable brands in history by removing complexity. Their stores feel clean. Their packaging feels intentional. Their advertisements avoid clutter. Even their products often feature remarkably simple designs. Apple understands that confusion slows decisions. Simplicity speeds them up. Many entrepreneurs believe adding more features automatically creates more value. Apple often proves the opposite. Sometimes removing distractions creates the better experience. Whether someone buys an iPhone, a MacBook, or an iPad, the experience feels familiar. That's branding. Customers know what to expect. Consistency reduces uncertainty. Coca-Cola. Own one idea. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine the color red. For many people, Coca-Cola immediately comes to mind. Now imagine an ice-cold drink on a hot summer afternoon. Again, many people picture Coca-Cola. That didn't happen by accident. It happened because the company repeated the same emotional message for decades. Refreshing, sharing, happiness, togetherness, family, celebration. Notice something interesting. Coca-Cola doesn't change its identity every year. The advertisements evolve. The technology changes. The packaging improves. But the emotional message remains remarkably consistent. Many small businesses fail because they constantly change directions. One month they're humorous. The next they're luxurious. The next they're budget-friendly. The next they're edgy. Customers don't know what to remember. Coca-Cola teaches us that repetition creates recognition. You don't need 100 different messages. You need one unforgettable message repeated consistently. Starbucks. Sell the experience. Think about this. Millions of people own coffee makers. Coffee beans are available in nearly every grocery store. Making coffee at home costs far less than buying it at Starbucks. So why do people continue going? Because Starbucks doesn't simply sell coffee. It sells an experience. The smell, the music, the comfortable seating, the familiar menu, the friendly atmosphere. Whether you're traveling for work, studying for an exam, meeting a friend, or simply taking a break, you generally know what kind of experience you're going to receive. That predictability creates comfort. Comfort creates loyalty. Imagine visiting 5 different Starbucks locations across the country. Although each store is unique, the overall feeling remains familiar. The logo, the colors, the cups, the menu, the atmosphere, the customer experience. Everything reinforces the same identity. Ask yourself, what experience surrounds your product? Because sometimes the experience becomes more valuable than the product itself. McDonald's. Be instantly recognizable. Imagine you're driving on a highway. You're hungry. You don't know the town. Suddenly you see the golden arches in the distance. Before you've even exited the highway, your brain already knows what food you'll find. You know roughly how much it will cost. You know how the restaurant works. You know what the fries taste like. You know what to expect. That is branding at its highest level. Recognition removes uncertainty. McDonald's has spent decades making every part of its identity consistent. The colors, the logo, the packaging, the menu, the restaurant layout, the uniforms, the advertisements. Everything works together. This teaches an important lesson. Customers appreciate familiarity. Many entrepreneurs constantly reinvent themselves because they're afraid of becoming boring. The truth is, customers often appreciate consistency far more than constant change. Become recognizable before you become complicated. Rolex. Sell meaning, not time. A smartphone tells time. A digital watch tells time. A wall clock tells time. Rolex doesn't compete by simply telling time better. It competes through meaning. When someone purchases a Rolex, they're rarely buying it because they need to know the hour. They're buying craftsmanship, achievement, success, status, history, legacy. Rolex has positioned itself as something much larger than a watch. It represents a milestone. People receive Rolex watches to celebrate promotions, retirements, career achievements, major life moments. The product becomes connected to emotion. Emotion creates memory. Memory creates value. Ask yourself, what deeper meaning could your product represent? The answer may become more valuable than the product itself. What these brands have in common? Now let's step back. Nike sells motivation. Apple sells simplicity. Coca-Cola sells happiness. Starbucks sells experience. McDonald's sells familiarity. Rolex sells achievement. different products, different industries, different customers. Yet all 6 companies follow remarkably similar principles. They know exactly who they are. They rarely confuse customers. They repeat their message consistently. They build trust over years, not days. They understand that branding isn't about shouting louder than everyone else. It's about becoming unforgettable. Here's something else you'll notice. None of these companies became global brands overnight. Every one of them started small. Every one of them had a first customer. Every one of them had days when nobody knew their name. Their founders didn't wake up with worldwide recognition. They earned it. One customer, one product, one promise kept at a time. That's encouraging because it means you don't need millions of dollars to begin thinking like a great brand. You simply need discipline. You need consistency. You need patience. Imagine building a brick wall. You don't place one giant brick and suddenly have a house. You lay one brick carefully, then another, then another. Each brick seems insignificant by itself, but years later, people admire the finished building. Branding works exactly the same way. Every customer interaction is another brick. Every social media post is another brick. Every package you ship is another brick. Every promise you keep is another brick. Eventually, people stop seeing individual bricks. They see a brand. Remember this lesson as you continue building your own business. The world's biggest brands don't think about making one sale today. They think about creating a reputation that lasts for decades. They don't ask, how can we sell this product? They ask, how do we want people to feel when they think about our name? That's the difference between selling a product and building a brand. The product may change, technology will change, markets will change, customers will change. But if your brand consistently stands for something meaningful, people will remember you long after they've forgotten everyone else. That is how the world's biggest brands think. And beginning today, it's how you should think too. Chapter 9. Marketing that makes people buy. Imagine you're standing on a dock holding a fishing rod. You could cast your line anywhere in the water. You might get lucky. Or you could study where the fish gather. You could understand the tides. You could learn what bait attracts the species you're trying to catch. Which fisherman is more likely to succeed? The answer seems obvious. Successful marketing works exactly the same way. Great marketers don't simply throw advertisements into the world and hope someone notices. They study people. They learn what customers want. They understand their problems. They discover their dreams. Then they create messages that connect those desires with their products. Marketing isn't about convincing people to buy something they don't want. It's about helping the right people discover something that genuinely fits their needs or aspirations. One of the biggest mistakes new entrepreneurs make is talking only about their product. Our shirt is made from this material. Our coffee uses these beans. Our watch has these features. Features have their place. But customers usually ask a different question. How does this improve my life? Imagine 2 advertisements for the exact same hiking backpack. The first says, made with reinforced nylon, double stitching, waterproof zippers, and adjustable shoulder straps. Those are features. Now imagine the second advertisement. A backpack built for the weekends you'll remember for the rest of your life. Whether you're climbing mountains, camping under the stars, or exploring trails with your family, carry your adventure with confidence. Same product. Completely different feeling. The second advertisement sells the outcome. People rarely buy products because of technical specifications alone. They buy because of what those products help them become, achieve, experience, or feel. This brings us to one of the most powerful words in marketing. Why? Simon Sinek popularized the phrase, start with why, and the underlying idea resonates because people naturally connect with purpose before details. Don't just explain what you sell. Explain why it exists. Imagine someone asks, why did you start this business? If your answer is, to make money, few people will feel inspired. Now imagine saying, I wanted to help families spend more time outdoors together. Or, I wanted to create clothing that reminds people to slow down and enjoy nature. Or, I wanted to make technology simple enough that anyone could use it. Purpose creates connection. Connection creates trust. Trust creates customers. Another important principle is this: stop interrupting people. Start helping people. Think about the last advertisement you skipped online. Why did you skip it? Probably because it interrupted what you actually wanted to watch. Now think about a video that taught you something useful. Maybe it showed you how to tie a fishing knot, bake better bread, fix a bicycle, take better photographs. Notice something. That wasn't just content. It was marketing. Education builds authority. Authority builds trust. Instead of asking, "How can I sell today?" ask, "How can I help someone today?" If you consistently educate, entertain, or inspire your audience, many people will naturally become curious about your products. The best marketing often feels less like advertising and more like service. Here's another lesson. People trust people, not perfect advertisements. Imagine you're choosing between two restaurants. The first restaurant tells you, "We have the best food in town." The second restaurant says nothing, but 20 happy customers leave glowing reviews about the incredible food and friendly staff. Which one feels more believable? Exactly. That's why testimonials matter. Customer photos matter. Reviews matter. Word of mouth matters. Real experiences often carry more weight than polished advertisements. Never be afraid to let satisfied customers tell your story. Now let's talk about attention. Every day, people scroll past hundreds or even thousands of posts. Most disappear from memory within seconds. Why? Because they all look the same. Imagine walking through a neighborhood where every house is painted gray. Suddenly, one house has a bright red front door with beautiful flowers surrounding it. Which house do you remember? Marketing works the same way. You don't need to be louder. You need to be different in a meaningful way. That difference could come from your storytelling, your photography, your humor, your educational content, your personality, your customer experience. Being memorable is more valuable than being noisy. Another common mistake is trying to sell immediately. Imagine meeting someone for the first time. Before they even learn your name, you ask them for $1,000. Most people would walk away. Neither does marketing. Introduce yourself. Provide value. Earn trust. Answer questions. Solve problems. Only then ask for the sale. Great marketing feels like building a friendship, not demanding a transaction. Remember what we learned earlier in this book. Your first real sale should come from a stranger. Why? Because strangers don't owe you anything. When someone you've never met chooses your product over countless alternatives, that's evidence your marketing is working. One stranger becomes proof. 10 strangers become momentum. 100 strangers become a business. 1,000 strangers become a brand. Every successful company started exactly the same way, one customer at a time. As your business grows, study your results. Don't guess. Measure. Which video attracted the most attention? Which photo generated the most comments? Which email received the most replies? Which product page converted the most visitors into customers? Marketing is both creative and analytical. The best marketers combine imagination with observation. They create, measure, learn, improve, then repeat. One final lesson: never stop telling the same story. Many entrepreneurs become bored with their own message. They've said it hundreds of times. But remember, you've heard your story every day. A new customer may be hearing it for the very first time. Consistency is one of the greatest competitive advantages in business. Keep showing up. Keep teaching. Keep helping. Keep improving. Keep delivering on your promises. Marketing isn't about tricking people. It's not about manipulation. It's not about chasing every trend. It's about clearly communicating value to the people who genuinely need what you offer. Think of marketing like planting a garden. You don't throw seeds into the ground and expect a harvest the next morning. You prepare the soil. You water consistently. You remove weeds. You give the plants sunlight. You remain patient. Over time, growth begins to appear. The businesses that seem to grow overnight are often the ones that spent years quietly tending their garden while everyone else was looking for shortcuts. That's the mindset of great marketing. Serve first, build trust, stay consistent, keep learning. And remember this: people rarely buy because they completely understand your product. They buy because they understand how your product fits into their life. When your marketing helps people see that future clearly, selling becomes much easier. Because at that point, you're no longer convincing people to buy. You're helping them make a decision they already wanted to make. Chapter 11. Creating a brand that lasts decades. Imagine planting an oak tree. On the first day, it doesn't look impressive. It's small, fragile, easy to overlook. If you judged its future by what you saw that afternoon, you might wonder why anyone bothered planting it at all. But year after year, something remarkable happens. Its roots grow deeper. Its trunk becomes stronger. Its branches stretch farther toward the sky. Eventually, generations of people gather beneath its shade. Children climb its branches. Families take photographs beside it. People remember the tree long after they have forgotten who planted it. A great brand is built the same way. Most people only see the finished tree. They don't see the years of patient growth beneath the surface. In today's world, many entrepreneurs want immediate results. A viral video, 10,000 followers overnight, 1 million views, instant success. But lasting brands are rarely built overnight. They're built through thousands of ordinary days, where someone simply refuses to stop showing up. One customer, one package, one conversation, one promise, repeated over and over again. The strongest brands understand something that many businesses forget. A sale is temporary. A reputation is permanent. Anyone can lower prices to create a spike in sales. Anyone can run a flashy advertisement. Anyone can create excitement for a weekend. But very few businesses consistently deliver enough value for customers to return year after year. Returning customers are one of the greatest signs of a healthy brand. Think about your favorite local restaurant. You probably don't return simply because of the food. You return because of the experience, the familiar faces, the service, the atmosphere, the confidence that you'll enjoy yourself every time. Predictability is powerful. When customers know exactly what they're going to receive, uncertainty disappears. And when uncertainty disappears, loyalty begins to grow. Another important principle is protecting your reputation. Imagine spending years filling a clear glass with clean water, one drop at a time. Now imagine someone pours a bottle of black ink into the glass. The water changes almost instantly. Reputation works much the same way. It often takes years to earn trust, but careless decisions can damage it surprisingly fast. That's why every decision matters. Every product, every customer interaction, every refund, every email, every social media post, every promise, every shipment. Ask yourself a simple question before making important business decisions. Will this strengthen my reputation 5 years from now? If the answer is no, think again. The companies that survive for decades usually make decisions with the future in mind, not just today's profits. They understand that every customer is more than a transaction. Every customer is an opportunity to build another advocate for the brand. Imagine someone buying from your company for the very first time. The package arrives. The product exceeds expectations. Customer service is friendly. Everything feels thoughtful. What happens next? They tell a friend. That friend tells another. Without realizing it, your customer becomes part of your marketing team. The best advertising has always been a satisfied customer. That's one reason why trust compounds over time. Think of trust like rolling a snowball down a hill. At first, it barely grows. You wonder if your effort is making any difference. But as the snowball continues rolling, it becomes larger, heavier, more powerful. Eventually, it gains momentum that would have been impossible at the beginning. Brands work the same way. Consistency may seem slow in the early stages. Then one day, people begin recognizing your name. Customers start recommending you. Repeat buyers become common. Momentum begins working in your favor. Many people mistake that momentum for luck. They say, that company became an overnight success. What they didn't see were the years spent building trust before anyone noticed. One lesson shared by many enduring companies is that they never stop learning. Customer expectations change, technology changes, markets change, successful brands adapt without abandoning who they are. Imagine a ship crossing the ocean. The captain constantly adjusts the sails as the wind changes. But the destination remains the same. Businesses should do the same. Adjust your strategies. Improve your products. Learn new skills. Adopt useful technology. But don't lose sight of your mission. Never sacrifice your identity simply because the market changes. Your values should become your compass. A compass doesn't eliminate storms. It simply keeps you pointed in the right direction. The companies that last for generations almost always know exactly what they stand for. They don't chase every trend. They don't panic every time a competitor appears. They stay focused, patient, disciplined. Now think back to the very beginning of this book. We started with one platform, one clear message, one real sale. Everything since then has been building toward this moment. A lasting brand isn't created by one brilliant logo, one clever slogan, one successful advertisement. It's built by thousands of consistent decisions made over many years. The logo becomes familiar. The name gains meaning. The personality becomes recognizable. Trust continues growing. Customers become loyal. Eventually, your business becomes something much larger than the products it sells. It becomes part of people's lives. That's the true goal of branding. Not simply making today's sale, but earning tomorrow's customer, and next year's customer, and the customer who recommends you to their children years from now. Remember this as you continue your journey. Anyone can build a business that lasts a season. Anyone can build a business that follows a trend. But building a brand that lasts for decades requires something far more valuable: patience, consistency, integrity, and the courage to keep showing up, even when the results aren't immediate. Because time is the one advantage that cannot be copied. When your competitors are chasing shortcuts, you'll be building roots. And just like the oak tree, those roots will quietly support something that can stand for generations. Chapter 12. Final thoughts. Imagine standing at the edge of a calm lake just before sunrise. The water is still. The sky is quiet. You pick up a small stone and gently toss it into the center of the lake. At first, all you see is a tiny splash. It doesn't seem significant. But within seconds, ripples begin spreading in every direction. One small action creates a much larger impact than you first imagined. Building a brand works the same way. Every decision you make creates a ripple. Every social media post, every customer interaction, every package you ship, every promise you keep, every review you earn, every person you help. At first, those actions may seem small. Some days you'll wonder if anyone even notices. Keep going. The strongest brands in the world weren't built in a week. They weren't built because someone had the perfect logo. They weren't built because someone went viral. They were built because ordinary people made extraordinary commitments to consistency. Throughout this book, we've covered the building blocks of branding. We started by focusing on one platform, instead of trying to conquer them all. We learned that your first real sale should come from a complete stranger, because that's when your business earns genuine trust. We discovered that a brand is far more than a logo or a name. It's the feeling people have when they think about your business. We explored the psychology of trust and why consistency matters. We learned how colors, visual identity, names, and logos become symbols that people remember. We discussed the importance of building a personality that customers can relate to. We looked at how some of the world's biggest brands think, not because they all sell the same products, but because they all understand people. We talked about marketing that serves before it sells. We identified common mistakes that prevent businesses from growing. And finally, we explored what it takes to build a brand that lasts for decades. If there's one lesson I hope you remember, it's this. A brand is built one promise at a time. Not one advertisement, not one logo, not one viral video. One promise, kept over and over again. Don't become discouraged if your business starts slowly. Every legendary company was once unknown. Every famous brand celebrated its first customer. Every successful entrepreneur experienced moments of doubt. The difference wasn't talent alone. It was persistence. So, choose your platform. Define your message. Know your audience. Stay consistent. Listen to your customers. Learn from your mistakes. Improve a little every day. And never stop delivering on the promises you make. Remember, people may forget the advertisement they saw yesterday. They may forget the social media post they scrolled past this morning. But they rarely forget how a business made them feel. Make people feel understood. Make people feel valued. Make people feel confident in choosing you. Do that consistently, and your brand will become more than a business. It will become a name people recommend, a company people trust, a reputation that grows stronger with every customer. One day, someone may ask how your brand became successful. They may think it happened all at once. You'll know the truth. It happened through thousands of small decisions that nobody applauded at the time. One post, one conversation, one customer, one promise, one day at a time. Thank you for spending this time with me. Now it's your turn. Go build something that people won't just buy. Build something they'll remember.